So today we have 5 overtrained and underused skills in basketball. Now I'm not saying these are all things that you should never do. It's things that are trained way more often than they're used in the games. I'm gonna explain my points on all of these. The first one is your traditional jump stop, landing on 2 feet. Driving to the rim, landing on 2 here. It's trained so much at the youth levels, and if you don't land perfectly on 2 feet, it's wrong. When in reality, especially at the higher levels, even just high school, college and beyond, the game is played too fast where if you try to land on 2 and try to stop, you're most likely gonna fall over, travel. You also just don't have that many options. It's tough to land on 2 and then also be explosive. So instead, we're gonna use what we call a stride stop, which is just landing on a more staggered stance. We still have all of our options to go up. We have our ability to pivot here, and we're gonna be a lot more on balance and be able to stop under control.
Comes off the second one out of Bio. Turn the corner and catch.
His hand and a foot. Butler coming baseline.
So again, not saying we're never going to use that jump stop, but we're going to use this stride stop way more often. So if I was training younger players, I'm going to lean towards that a lot more than your traditional jump stop, landing perfectly on 2 feet. So the second thing that we're gonna see is overtrained and underused is our traditional triple threat. Catching, jabbing, going here. In a game, high school, even middle school and beyond, you don't have time to catch the ball and work out of this triple threat. Oftentimes, you're going to have to make 0-second decisions, catch, and then play. So we like to land on 2 feet here where we can go here, and then we can split catch, go left, we can split catch, go right, we can shimmy, and then we can also, off of here, shoot, and then we can also obviously shot fake and play off that.
Versu falls, Kyrie got the angle, froze him. Left-handed spinner.
The lead from James. Boston led by as many as 16. Here's Irving on the drive.
Triple threat position, keep 3 points in marking it. Switch sides with the ball by passing it.
As opposed to teaching a ton off this triple threat, especially younger players, because once you get older, you're not going to use it that much. So why are you going to train and spend so much time on it when again, it's not used, where in reality, we can start to teach split catches, making 0-second decisions, being able to land on 2 there, be able to play off of that. So we've all seen this one before. Third point is our traditional 2-hand bounce pass. Make sure you put your thumbs down, right? If you don't, you're doing it wrong. We got to learn the bounce pass because this is a fundamental pass that you're going to make in basketball. Now, again, this is overtrained, underutilized for many different reasons. The higher level, high school and beyond, is completely unrealistic. Number one, we're never going to be in this situation. Number two, there's going to be a defense in front of me. So if I go like this, I'm throwing it right into the defense, right? So being able to do this has no relation to actually being able to make a successful pass in a game. At the end of the day, as long as the pass gets there and it gets there in a timely fashion so he can make a play, even if I get that pass to him here, it gives the defense so much more time to rotate that he's most likely not going to get a good shot. So if he was playing defense in front of me, in reality, let's say he's here and I'm passing to my camera guy right there, I'm not gonna be able to do this, right? I'm gonna have to try to get it out here. Even if I'm making it off 2, it's gonna be more so with that one hand. And then I might also be off this one hand here. I might not even pick up a 2, because if I go like this, by the time I pick up, it gives him more time and then I'm kind of stuck and then I don't have the ability to make a pass. So at the end of the day, it's unrealistic to what actually works in games. So we're sitting here training something that isn't at the end of the day gonna work in a game, so we are wasting our time when we could just say, hey, put a defender in front of you, you gotta pass to this person, figure out a way to do that. If it's 2 hands, cool. If it's off 1 hand, that's also right as well. So at the end of the day, what works in games is quote unquote right. Your perfect technique isn't right if it doesn't work and get results in games. What's right is what gets results.
Great cut by Matt Lejeski.
Oh, that happening from here. That's a beauty.
And he goes up with a reverse slam.
Ranger comes up with a steal. Great
Fast and Andre Moran 7 for the
puts it up. And have come back to haunt them now. Look at
movements. Beautiful pass.
Wilbekin offers the bounce pass to Black.
The fourth one, which is one of my favorites, is our traditional inside foot, outside hand layup. I love this one because if you try to go off this foot, it's wrong, apparently, at the youth level. When in reality, as you get into high school, as you get into college, rarely will you actually be able to use this inside foot layup for a couple reasons. Number one, when you get taller, your legs get longer, your strides get longer as well. So yes, when you're younger, you can take 3 dribbles with your short steps and go off this inside foot. When you get older, you're typically spacing-wise gonna end up with this foot here. So it doesn't make sense for me if there's rotating help side to take an extra step. What's right is what works. me being able to get this off before the defense get there is right. Now, if I take this extra step, I'm usually gonna get too far into the rim. It gives him more time to block me. So again, it doesn't work. Like there's obviously times and places where we're gonna get into maybe, boom, veer step here and we're technically going off of that, or we're getting into reverses. Again, I'm not saying that we're never gonna use this. We should never use an inside step. I'm just saying, again, it's over-taught. You go look at college film, you go look at NBA high school film, most of the finishes are actually gonna be off of this foot.
Van Vliet, he's had the hot hand. Van Vliet on the drive, taking on Williams. Toronto stretching their lead to 6.
Up the other night.
Barrett going to that left.
Professional score is Rozier right now. Rozier.
Special offensive talent and the ability to.
So when we're training younger players, the biggest thing I tell coaches to do is don't tell them it's wrong. If they go here, don't say that's wrong, because it's not. At the end of the day, they're gonna have to be able to do both. What I see all the time is I have youth players who come in and I say, hey, go off that inside step, go off that outside foot. And they're like, isn't that wrong? I should be going off this foot. Again, we got to be able to do both. There's times and places for both, but if you're telling players, hey, this is wrong, when in reality it's not, you're just programming them to do something that at the end of the day, we're going to have to take that habit away and teach them to be able to do both. So we might as well allow them to do both and say, hey, that's not necessarily wrong, but I want you to be able to do this, because again, we got to be able to do both. And once you get to the higher levels, you're more likely to go off of this foot than you are to this foot. Point number 5, which is one of my favorites, a little bit nuanced, so bear with me here. Left hand layups, right? Weak hand layups. I'm driving to the left side. You're gonna have coaches, especially at the youth level, you always have to go with that left hand on the left side, or we need to train it 50-50. I like that to a degree because again, we need to develop our left hand. You're not gonna be able to do it by not working on your left hand, but always telling players we need to finish with our left hand on the left side is unrealistic. If you go watch most film, again, high school, college, NBA, more times than not, even if you're going to that weak hand, you are still going to be able to get your dominant hand finish off, whether that's an inside here, whether that's a pivot, and then coming back to that right hand.
I don't think I ever scored a bucket with my left hand.
Wow.
Tonight, so maybe finding a
Ever. I know with the Spurs I didn't. You can check that with Chip England because he was counting. He's counting all the offhand buckets. I don't think I ever made a left-hand bucket in my career. I would go left. I just wouldn't shoot with my left hand. So I could drive left and then do the quick right hand, you know.
So we're still gonna maybe 75% of the time gonna use our dominant hand, 25% use our weak hand. And that's not to say we should never train it because we're not gonna use it as much. I'm just saying, hey, okay, if we're gonna use it 25%, use our right hand 75%, let's try to have our training match those numbers a little bit more often. And then also teach players, hey, here's how you can get your right hand shot off even though you're on the left side. So this is less about, hey, we shouldn't train our left hand. It's more so about criticizing, hey, if you're on your left side, you have to use your left hand. And if you don't, it's wrong, it's not good. Again, everything in basketball is not just black and white. It's not, hey, you're on the left side, you gotta use your left hand. Hey, if you're in this situation, you have to do this. So as a coach, be aware of that and make sure you're communicating that to your players as well. So if you take anything from this video, understand that basketball is very nuanced. And at the end of the day, if something works in a game, it's probably right. Now again, even that isn't black and white. Just because it works doesn't mean it's necessarily right or always going to work. So again, just understand there's nuances to basketball. It's not black and white. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know in the comments which point of these was your favorite or which one do you guys disagree with and why.